Tonight, you'll fall asleep, tracing the gentle, oddly adventurous journey of a single Roman sock. From sheep's wool on a soggy hill in Britain to a dusty museum drawer in modern Italy, this sock will show us how everyday life in the Roman world was surprisingly full of mishaps, misunderstandings, and mild-toed discomfort. You're sheared, bundled, and hauled to a small hut where women sit spinning wool while gossiping about Roman tax collectors and the neighbor's suspicious goats. Your life begins in a soggy sheep field. It is cold. It is damp. A sheep size. You're handed off to a trader who deals in small garments. The journey across Roman Gaul is long. You bump along in a cart, wrapped in linen, listening to oxen snort and drivers curse in Latin. At roadside inn, your crate rests near hearths where travelers speak of Caesar's legacy and the rising cost of olive oil. His other foot remains bare, awaiting the delivery of your twin. You survive blisters, bad poetry, and that one time Publius dropped a hot coal on your heel. Your wool scars nobly. One day, your owner visits the bathhouse. Roman hygiene is strict. Socks off, tunics off, everything in a neat pile. You now live with him. In the bustling Gallic city of Lugdunum, you find yourself tossed onto a market stall. A street child steals you, strings you like a puppet, and performs a strange, wordless show involving a turnip and a pretend lion. Except one mischievous bather mistakes you for a rag and tosses you into the laundry tub. You ride through the desert in his saddlebag, occasionally used to polish his helmet. You travel with amphorae of wine, sacks of lentils, and one surprisingly flirty parrot. In the 19th century, an archaeological dig uncovers you. 2nd century CE. Children press sticky hands to the case. At night, when the museum is quiet, you remember the sheep's hill, the cold wind, the chatter of soldiers, the sand of the desert. One adult reads the sign aloud in a sleep-deprived monotone. You are proud. A young scholar, thrilled by the find, identifies you as possibly part of a ritual. Another insists you're an early midden. You say nothing. He grumbled, but you are warm, resilient, loyal. On a cargo ship bound for Carthage, disaster strikes. A storm raises. Amphorae roll. The captain yells Neptune's breeches. You, tucked in a sack of wool scraps, are thrown overboard. You march in a boot, through mud and snow, beside men who smell of iron and cabbage stew. Soldiers cluster around fires, playing dice and telling scandalous stories involving Vestal virgins and Eventually, you're left at a small temple near Thebes as an offering. Scholars are unsure why a sign of humility, a nod to warmth in the afterlife, or just a misplaced object, a single sock, a peculiar order. But Rome is full of peculiar feet. Eventually, you're purchased in a dusty market by a Roman soldier, Publius Flavius. He's posted to the Rhine frontier, and your destiny is now ... military. You're rolled into a crate, surrounded by bundles of fabric, a bag of dried apricots, and something that smells faintly like pickled eel. The trader slams the lid, grins, and loads you onto a river barge bound for Gaul. You are part of its fluffy fleece, nestled in with grass seeds, droplets of rain, and the vague knowledge that soon you'll be a sweater or possibly, if fortune smiles, something more ... suck-like. One day, a shepherd grumbling in a Celtic dialect, lost to time gathers the wool. Your strands are carded and spun into yarn, then dyed a deep, rusty red using madar root, one of the most common Roman dyes. Not noble purple, of course, too fancy but respectable. Londinium is busy, wooden planks creak under carts, Roman officials bark orders, and somewhere, someone is definitely overboiling lentils. You float down the Thames, then across the channel on a rocking boat manned by grumbling sailors, and one very excitable dog. You pass vineyards, roadside altars, and a statue of Mercury wearing suspiciously modern-looking shoes. You are pulled over as cold toes. You, dear sock, absorb the smells of smoke and wet leather. You're nearly boiled with another man's undergarments. You escape barely, are rescued by a toga-clad stranger to hungover, to realize you're not his sock. The audience is confused. You are a hit. Eventually, you're bartered for olives, and passed to a merchant heading south. At Massilia, you glimpse the sea for the first time. You wash ashore days later, sun-dried, crusted in salt, and still mostly you're picked up by a wandering Numidian courier. He believes you bring luck. You see dunes, date palms, and camels that snort when they dream. You rest there for centuries. Sand creeps in. Time forgets. You are packed and shipped to Rome. Now, you sit behind glass, labeled Roman textile. See, you've survived storms, sandals, and the Roman tax system. Not bad for a sock. You've been a puppet, a relic, a lucky charm. And now, a bedtime story. Sleep well, little sock. Sleep well, dear listener.